computer. Hello, everybody. It is Thursday, September 5th already. Oh my goodness gracious. What an exciting night tonight. We were just hanging out, talking a little bit. Man, I'm excited. Randall, Randall has always piqued my interest, been there for me, been a wonderful mentor in the community. But tonight, he's going to talk about the magic of Christmas, and I couldn't be more happier to have him host the show. I'm going to turn over all to Randall, but right now I'm going to spotlight my friend. Everyone, give it up for Randall. He's going to
Yay!
show an awesome,
Oh,
awesome show
thank
tonight.
wow. Spotlight, that seems weird. Ooh, scares me looking in the mirror. Well, thank you guys very much. Scares me. I want to be able to see. You mind, Mo? I want to be able to see everybody because we're gonna do a little improv stuff. If you don't mind.
No, no, hang on one second. I'll fix it for you.
Sorry about that. I didn't mean to throw you off like that, but
Oh, no, that's like that.
just because yeah. So then everybody, because we're gonna do a little improv, so people are gonna see and hear what back and forth might work out.
Okay, is that a
So
good news
thank you.
for you?
Sorry about that. I hope everybody can see what I'm doing here like this, but we're gonna do a lot of just gonna do a little bit of everything tonight. Gonna do a little question and answer, gonna do a little improv, and the biggest thing is to talk about the magic of Christmas and not Santa being a magician like all know I do. Um, but Santa is the most magical character out there. Just take a moment and think about what Santa can do and Mrs. Claus can do. They do the most magical, incredible things ever around the world and in one night. Knows the gifts, naughty and nice. It's limitless what Santa can do to make things magical, and that's our job then to keep that spirit and that alive in the children, not by doing a big magic trick, but to keep that magic alive. And our biggest, in fact, I'm going to start out this way a little different. I changed my mind totally. I'm not happy always have with the mind I have anyways, but that's another story altogether. Um, I'm just going to go around and ask, what is the most magical part of Santa and Mrs. Claus? I'll go around. Can use your little those little hand things? Is that what they are? If not, I'll just call on you like the olden days. The olden days, if you're in the back of the class, you're going to get called on anyway. So, yes, Brenda, that means you're going to get called on first since you nodded your head. So, what's the most, Brenda, to you, the most magical part about me and Mrs. Claus or Santa to you? What's the most magical part?
About being Mrs.
Christmas
Claus?
magic.
Hey, Mrs. Claus, what do you think is the most magical part about it?
The most magical part to me is the look on the faces of the children when they see you and listen to you and just believe that the look on their faces just blows me away. And I love it. I had a friend who followed me into a performance one time and stood behind me and watched or over my shoulder. And his words to me when we walked out was, they never look at me that way. And I'm like, yeah, well, I can help you with that. We'll get you an outfit and stuff. But he was just, a normal person. But he said, nobody ever looks at me that way. And I just love the way that the magical thing to me is that we can elicit that response from children just by being there, just by walking in the room and being with them.
Well, let's take what Brenda just said about that, about the way the children look at Santa and Mrs. Claus. They look at us with an eyes of fantasy,
Mm.
eyes of love, eyes of hope. And like you said, through the year I'm gray and not long beard until December. So they just look at me as some guy doing magic. I don't get that look all year, but you get it when you look like Santa, you look like Mrs. Claus. And that is such a childlike, wonderful thing. I wish we could keep that longer in the children. Beautiful thing to say, Brenda. That is really great to keep that, to know that that's such a magical thing, because it doesn't happen to everybody. It happens to Santa and Mrs. Claus, and in the way the world is now, the children need that as long as they can. So, who am I going to talk with next? Jer, since you were on for quite a while there, Jer, you'll get to be the first one looking to come in. What do you think the most magical part of Santa is?
Uh, yeah, hmm. I guess for me, some of the magical things have been knowing things that they're like, how'd you know that? So even just, getting a little hint about their name or something or like that, or I like, watch what they're wearing. to see if they have a Paw Patrol thing on or something like that. But one of the most magical things I think is surprising them with my knowledge of toys. So when they say, "Oh, they like Paw Patrol," and "Oh, really? Well, who's your favorite character? Do you like Marshall? Oh, you do? Well, I really like Sky." And so I kind of know their world stuff. So that's been magical. Uh, and I've got a story, but it'll take too long. But
Just you can.
yeah, I think just so they expect. Because sometimes I'm surprised that Santa knows the toys. I'll hear from the parents or grandparents too. Whoa, he really knows his toys.
And that's what makes what Jared said is what makes it magical to the children. Even the parents are, wow, Santa knows who Paw Patrol is. Santa knows this Sky and Marshall and Chase and all those guys. And so do the children. That just adds that magical touch without props, without anything, just by our verbal connection with the children. That's great, Jared. And that is something to remember when a child comes up. You made a comment about their clothes. Wow. I mean, oh, that's such a whatever cute dress, or I like your, like you said, Paw Patrol shirt, or I mean, it keeps that smile on the children's face, and it keeps the connection with Santa or Mrs. Claus closer. And then when you talk, what's going on. Fantastic. And that's what
That it?
that's it. That's what keeps the magic alive.
Could I try to do my story in one
Sure,
minute?
go ahead, Jerry. Yeah, please.
So I was at a major theme park in Florida. Uh, so pretty familiar with all the big toys, the Star Wars stuff and things, and I try and keep up on the toys. And the family came in to visit with the little ones, and then there's a 10, 11-year-old boy. He just, you're not real and all that. And I said, well, what would you like for Christmas anyway? He said, well, I'll never get it. It costs $765. And I go, oh, really? That must be the new Star Wars Galactic Cruiser, the Lego one. And he jumped off the chair, went in the middle of the room, turned around, laid on the floor, and goes, "How can you know that?" It was magical.
See, that's he will not forget that and he'll tell his friends, he'll tell his family what Santa did for him. I mean, that's congratulations. Great thing to notice that, and to know that information about a Star Wars Lego stuff. I know they're expensive, but I didn't think they were that much money. Wow. So that's the coolest part. Let's get one more opinion on, or thought process on, what's the most magical. Lou, so you gotta, yeah, go ahead.
What fascinates me about Santa Claus is his immortality.
Yeah, that's something that I was going to ask later on, about how you folks talk about how old Santa is. Because it's magical to think that Santa might be, 1,500, 1,700 years old. I mean, that's crazy to think. How does he keep on going? So, exactly what you said is how then do we explain that and keep the magic and the children believing that how old we are, how old we are. Now let's go to the other side of the coin. Not what's the most magical part of Santa. What's the least most magical part of Santa and Mrs. Claus? What do you think just like drops it down? Does anybody have an idea about what drops down the magical part of Santa, if there is any? Mike? Phineas?
I think the least magical part is the focus on material gifts.
Hang on one second. I got to break in. Hey, I'm sorry to interrupt, guys.
Yeah.
Just give me 1 second. If everyone could hit mute unless you're talking, that would be great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
But particularly if you are working in a mall or a big box store, there is such a focus on what do you want? What do you hope to get? I always try to reframe it as, what are you going to give? What are you going to do for your loved ones at Christmas? But that is my least magical.
Totally agree, because it's surprising how many, and you folks, Mrs. Claus here's the same thing. You get a list that's, yay long, filled with everything they want for Christmas. And you know, it's how many thousands of dollars worth of in real dollars. And it's something that we don't promise anyway, but it takes the focus off the love, the care, the jolliness, and everything else, and puts it on material items. Very good. Very good. Anybody else? Sorry, Santa Dave Claus. I'm going to pick on you now. I'm going to ask you next, Dave. What do you think's the least magical part of Santa? If there is a least magical part of Santa. Might have to unmute there, Dave. You there? Sorry about that. Yeah, you're still muted there, Dave. You got, maybe not.
Are you all right? Everyone should be able to unmute when they need to talk. Can you hear him?
Yeah, Dave's he's not unmuting here.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
There we go.
There we
Thanks,
go.
Dave. Perfect. Thank you, Dave. Appreciate your input. Even though now it'll be even better if we get your input when we hear it. But what do you
This
think?
microphone is the least magical.
Yeah, what do you think's the least magical about Santa and Mrs. Claus and all that?
The least magical. That's a tough one. When a child asks you that they want Christmas like it was last year, and you ask them what it was that they want, and they want mommy back, and she has passed away, and it catches you so far off guard. But you gotta come up with something. So you tell them, you're going to pray for them. That's a difficult ones for me.
It's not easy, because of course it takes you, like you said, it takes you by surprise anyway to hear a child say that, or something that happened like that. And we can't promise anybody's going to come back. We can just tell them that we remember, that they can always remember those loving memories. They'll always be in your heart, and things like that. And that's all we can do. And that is not magical. That is a very emotional part of being Santa and Mrs. Claus. That is really is a very, very part there. So
I guess
cool.
I got more magical. I got more magical than least magical.
Well, that's what we're hoping to do. That's the whole thing. That's the idea about Santa, Mrs. Claus, and I apologize, Phineas. The elves are also as magical as can be because of what they do. So it says there might not be a non-magical part of Santa, Mrs. Claus, or the elves, because what a character. I mean, whoever wrote him up, yes, Lewis. What can we do? Let me oops, share. How do we mute stuff there? Here we go.
I got it.
We lost you there. Oh, we lost him. So let's move on to, we're talking about magic. Of course, that's maybe the emotional part about magic. Of course, my years has been doing magic. That's what I do for a living, is perform magic and clowning and balloon twisting. And I always like to put in, of course, magic into the performance. To make things a little easier. Now, most of you people know about Spangles. Do I have one out here? Maybe I don't. I will steal one from inside here. The little reindeer cards. They're a great giveaway. But we just don't want to hand out. So what I've done is I've turned it into a little magic trick with a Christmas card. This is something you can make. It costs about $3 to make. It's made out of an old Christmas card and some poster board, and a little tape, and that's all it really takes. But you can tell the chubbies, even the back, it looks like a Christmas card, and tell the children, we're gonna see, we have a Christmas card with everything inside. But wait a minute, there's nothing inside the Christmas card. So you tell the children, well, you talk about Christmas, however you want to do, whatever your story is going to be. Then you reach down in the card and you pull out all the cards. It's still just a blank card on the inside, but it's another then good way to give away the cards if you want to give away the cards at a home event or whatever. But with doing a little bit of magic, putting that little extra magic into your connection with the children, but not spending a lot of money, not spending big props, because we all know what Christmas cards are. It's not nothing like a big magic prop, and these are always very good to give away. Now I'll show you the quick secret. It's just this is poster board and tape and a card, but there is, look this way, up on the inside, there are pockets. My hands are in the way, of course. I don't know how else to get my hand out of the way. There's just a pocket in the top. Well, my fingers can't get out of the way. There we go. There's a pocket. There's a pocket in this one. So when you have these cards in there, put them in the pocket. You open it up. No one sees it because it's by the tape, by the top there. Very easy to open up. Show. You do a little squeeze so you can reach your hand down in the pocket much easier. And then you pull them out and give them away. So that's the magic, or one little trick to do to help your giveaways a little bit, instead of just passing these out, especially at a home visit. How many of you folks, just by a raise of a hand, do home visits? I have a lot of just pictures. Very good. So it's something to keep. It's something that also packs flat. I will make this very clear every time I do something on the Monday Bob Randall and Company show. It packs flat to carry along, but you still get a little more work out of it. It puts that extra little magic into Santa's production. And then, of course, you have the reindeer cards. Well, what's better than to talk about the reindeer, Dasher and Dancer? And then what's better than to start? Where's Michael? Michael will start singing Rudolph anywhere, anytime. So that's nothing's better than to get the group to start singing Rudolph. You pass out all 9 cards or whatever it is. You can you can fit, actually, in this thing, you can fit 2 sets of 9. So you can pass out 18 of these. There's plenty of room. And if you want to do the 10th, of course, we all know the 10th reindeer. Yes, all of the other reindeer. You can even have 20 in there then. So it's a great way then to add to singing. And man, nothing's better than getting a round of grandma and grandpa and brother and sister and mom and dad in there singing Rudolph during their Christmas event. So just a little quick little prop to show you what different kind of magic, a real magic trick can do, instead of just how magical Santa is. Now, let's go back to where we were to begin with. Forget the props for a minute. We all do, how many of you do the magic key? Oh man, that is the most, also something we all carry on our belt. We all have a wonderful backstory for, but again, that is so magical to the children. It's not just a key. This gets you into their house once a year if they don't have a chimney, you know? And so there's so many things you can talk about this. Now I keep a reindeer whistle on mine. So it's a little tiny antler reindeer whistle to call my reindeer. So how many of you have used these extensively as a prop to talk to children? Brenda, your hand went up first. Yeah, you're in it. You're in it again, Brenda. Let me hear what you said. How you present it with the children and everything else. The magical key.
Well, being Mrs. Claus, it's not my key, it's Santa's key.
Okay, perfect.
So typically I do like a half-hour show with magic and singing and puppetry and telling stories and things. And usually at the bottom of my apron pocket or pocket that on my dress, if I'm wearing the other dress, I find the key and I'm like, oh, I'm in trouble, you guys, because I left the North Pole and I have the key. And it's not my key, it's Santa's key. And so we have this whole discussion about what all it does. And they ask questions about it. And I'm like, I really have to get back, because if they find out the key's missing, I'm going to be in trouble. And, I might have to bake more cookies tonight or something, So, I mean, just generally, because it's not my key, it's Santa Claus's key. And I accidentally got away with it.
Great. See, and she rattled that off, and the children, this sounds negative, the children will believe it and love it and everything else, and it keeps that belief alive a little longer. Let's pick somebody else that'll, Danny, how about you? How do you use your key?
I wait with my key dangling off my belt for children to notice it and ask, "What's that for?" Because invariably someone will.
Mhm.
And then I can launch into the story about Santa's magic key and how not all houses have chimneys. And if I need to get into your house on Christmas Eve and you don't have a chimney, this is what allows me to get in.
How many of you have more than one key on your belt and you use it for other things? Jeff? Where's Jeff? You bounced over. There you are. What do you use the second key or third key for, Jeff?
I have a reindeer key for the reindeer barn. I also have a tiny key that Mrs. Claus doesn't know about, but that goes to the cookie cabinet.
Very. See, and that just adds so much extra fun for the children. Sorry, Mike, I skipped over that little sign up top there. Where'd Mike go? Phineas, sorry, Bo. Go ahead.
I also use an effect called the haunted key.
Is that the one where the little thing slides?
No, that is the one that turns over in your hand on its own.
Ah.
And so when I produce that key, I comment that the key will turn itself in the lock if everybody in that house is good, but it will only turn if everyone is good. And that way, when I hold it out in my hand, I can show that everybody around us is good or not. Because it will turn in my hand on its own.
You didn't just talk a story about a key, and you now made it a naughty and nice item.
Yep.
Which puts another whole section into the key itself. Again, to keep that belief, to keep that magic in the children's head alive for longer. And that's our goal. That's our goal, is to keep that. Is your hand up, Ted, or you just kind of cover your face? So that's our whole goal, is to do that. No problem. I just saw your hand like this. I thought, well, actually it was like that more than anything. But fantastic. Who else is go ahead, Lewis?
Okay, I don't have a key, but I do have a ring.
Okay.
Hink. Nice ring you got, Randyl.
Yeah, I mean that's they know Santa and Mrs. Claus are married. Why not have you can buy these at any of the, I think this is a Spangle ring, I think. Where's the other one? The other one is probably a Claus net ring, so it's necessity to have. I'm going to pop onto something about that I like to use is, again, this is not a magic trick, just to keep the magic of Christmas alive and to tell backstories, is my silly, crazy watch.
Your watch?
This is just my watch. This is what I wear. I don't wear it for all year, just of course as Santa. It's actually an aviator watch. And I'm people have known me for a while. They know I'm an eBay fanatic, and I will find pretty much anything that I think is unique to add to the character. And nobody really sees these because it comes from China and takes you 8 months to get. But This is actually a watch. So you tell the children when they look at it, they go, what is that? Well, it's a whole backstory thing. That is the time where I'm at. This is just a barometer, I believe. Actually, what the watch does, that's North Pole time, which they don't understand anyway. Of course, there's a compass, so I always know how to get back to the North Pole. And that one there tells me how much magic I have left. So just by telling them a story of a crazy looking 1895 watch from China, I kept some magic alive for a little bit. And that is the fun stuff. I got Dana and Everett's got to talk about. Go ahead.
Yeah, I like to when I'm talking about the key, oftentimes I'll ask, oh, you especially if I'm in the house and I know if there's a pet in the house, oh, you have a dog or you have a cat. Oh yeah, we even have a hamster. Well, truth be told, that I've already trained both your cat and your dog to open the door for me. They jump up there with their little paws, and it takes a while for them to grip it and turn it, but they've mastered it and they can open the door only for me, only on Christmas Eve. And then when I leave, they jump back up and they lock the door. And I don't always have to come down your chimney. So,
See, that's cool. The stories that we have available to ourselves is probably, and I'll go jump ahead way of something I was going to say close to the end, is our most magical thing we have is the mind, our imagination, and our thought process, and the freedom we have to do that with as Santa and Mrs. Claus and the elves. It look what Everett did. He talked about training dogs and cats to open doors, but the story is wonderful, and we have the capability of doing that to make the children go, really, man, that is fan, that is fun love there. That is cool, very cool idea. I don't know how to get that. How do you get the hand down? Do you know how to get the hand down? I don't know. Oh well, I won't worry about it. Thank you. Like, here you go.
Lower
I've done
hand.
Zoom for so long. It seems odd to do Zoom. I just different from that StreamYard every Monday is different than this. But again, man, you guys got some great ideas. Again, I appreciate all the input on that kind of stuff. And let's take one more step a little closer, another step to some things that you can make magic wise to give away gifts. Now I just love the Santa cards from Spangle. I think they are so much fun. Is another thing. It's just made out of poster board, nothing expensive, a little bit of tape. You can show the children how easy it is, and all you've got to do is reach in. Oh, I don't have those in there. I guess I've already packed this for something else. These are actually stickers. I apologize. I've got stickers in there. Another thing you can do to produce a gift for the children. It's a very easy, was made by a magician called Mark Wilson back in the 1960s. Yeah, how many remember the 1960s? There, a few of you do. Again, it's nothing magical. Maybe same thing, $3 to $5. Well, poster board, dollar store is $1. Tape, so maybe $1.50, $2 is what it'll cost to get a prop. And again, it's that magical thing. There's just a pocket in one of the folds, is all it is. But it's one more thing that packs small, folds up nice and neat. And if you want to, you can put some fun little Christmas decorations on it. And it's one more way to add magic to giving away a gift. And of course, I forgot these are actually just stickers that I had in there. I thought I had the cards. That's what I usually use. But I try to think about that so many different times about different ways of not just handing out. Do I even have? I don't even have a coin here, do I? Um, handing out, let's say even the coin. How many of you folks hand out the coins, Santa's, Mrs. Claus's, and hand out coins and all that? The fun thing to do is do it behind their ear quick. It's a quick little thing to do it that way. More magical than just you've been good. You don't have to do it to every child, of course, because it gets repetitive that way. But it's one more thing to take Santa and puts him on another level of being more magical than he already is. So, oh my goodness, what am I gonna? Also, I'm gonna keep on rambling like I always do. Um, how many of you folks? Of course, we know you read The Night Before Christmas. How many of you read The Night Before Christmas? That's again, it's my favorite. It's my class. I just love doing it, regardless where I'm at. Um, this is also different ways to make The Night Before Christmas seems different than a regular book. Now I have all the regular books, but this is actually material. It is actually A Night Before Christmas that I sewed, actually. I got it from Michael Howe's favorite place, Hobby Lobby. You okay, Michael? I said Hobby Lobby. You didn't start jumping up and down. Bought the material and sewed it and made was A Night Before Christmas. It adds one little more sense of difference to the children than a regular book. It's like they're spellbound almost that it's a book made out of material. So different ways to do different things to keep that process going. And and I just this is when you're doing The Night Before Christmas, and we all do a great job, and I know you will, regardless what it is, it's telling a story. You enhance the characters, you enhance your voices, you do that. Of course, I love doing the ones where's that part about the not even a what, guys, is the next line? Not even a mouse. It's just a little package. You can have Mrs. Claus, or it's a little package, and there's little mouses that'll come out. There's different ways of adding to the story. If you've read the story 1,000, 10,000 times, probably, add something that puts a little bit more, not just your voice change the inflections, not just getting the audience, but even other props during the stockings were hung by the chimney with care. Bring out a stocking, something to get the children to interact even more. That all brings that remembrance and that magic of that visit with you, Santa and Mrs. Claus, with the child and the family. How many of you get excited when you see an adult get excited about Santa? How many of you get, Paul, tell me about one a great reaction you got from a grandparent, a mom, dad. What was the you might have to unmute, Paul. So sorry.
Okay. When they come in, and my funniest one was the parents were standing off to the side and they were kind of watching the kids interact. Kid walked up, said, "My dad wants a new boat." So I went in the whole, what kind of boat does dad want? Does he want it? So I talked the whole great big gigantic big bass boat, the big motor, the new rod, the new reels, the whole bit. Dad's almost drooling, shaking his head. Yeah. And you look at mom standing beside him, just shaking her head, not happening. So, and then the grandparents that come in, and the lady, well, we all know the ladies come in, they all want big hugs, they sit tight with you, and they just reminisce. It's so much fun when they interact, remembering their childhoods.
Yeah, I totally agree, Paul. That's great, because that's exactly remembering their childhood. The children are innocent. Most of them are. At least we want to keep them innocent as possible, as long as we can. They have that love for Santa. They have that joy already. But when you can take an adult, a grandparent, a grandma, grandpa, an aunt, uncle, mom, dad, and let them forget about their bills, their job, their fight with their spouse the night before, give them that few moments of smile that they remember their childhood. Man, we won so much. We did such a good job when we do that. I sometimes get more excited. I mean, I love the children too, but we all know how rough life is. And then when you get a parent that just, you can see it in their eyes that you just transported them back when they were 4, 5, 6 years old. And that's as magical as it can be because of what goes on in life. Ted, I see you there. Hands up. Go ahead, Ted.
Yeah.
Thank you, Paul, very much. Thank you, Paul.
You can also wow the people that hire you. And I had a situation like this. It goes back with Michael's Let There Be Fish story. I flew out to California the day after Christmas, and we were doing a Santa had won the contest thing. And I did an interview with one of the networks out there. It was ABC. And it was kind of comical because I had done my homework. It was for Berkeley Fishing. I knew who started Berkeley. I knew when he started Berkeley. And in the conversation of the interview, the guy asked me, he says, why have you teamed up with Berkeley? And I said, I called Jim Berkeley one time, so back when 1937, when he first started the company up. And I said, I don't make fishing equipment at the North Pole. Could you maybe help me out with some of that? And ever since then, he's always been really good at giving me what I need for Christmas. And he also, ever since then, the day after Christmas, we go fishing. Doesn't matter. Sometimes it's in different places in the world, but we will go fishing. And the whole interview went like that. It was about a 15-minute long interview. And after it was over, the lady that had hired me walks up and goes, "You really are Santa, aren't you?" And I just thought, well, yeah, okay. But it was all because I did my homework and I knew my stuff. So do that prep. It's just like anything else. Be ready for whatever might come up.
Yeah, because we all know the person that hires us, they've got to be satisfied with us too. Where our job is to make the children smile and to bring those magical memories that last. But unless we make, like Ted said, the person that's writing the check, if they're not happy, we won't be back next year. So that, I know that sounds like the very strong business end of it, but that is still is true. But Ted did his homework, so it made him happy. And with Ted and his gift of talking, it was like, yeah, this is what I do. This is all I know about, and this is who I am, and just that easy. And he sold him, no pun intended, hook, line, and sinker. You sold him on that, Ted.
Yeah, I did, and everybody knows how shy I am.
Oh, terrible! Yes, terrible. Thanks, Ted. Great story. I mean, that was a cool thing to fly back and forth for that whole thing and the things that happened. That's a big memory. Chris Terry's next. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, you're talking about an adult that's excited. And the very first year that I was in the red suit, I was at Sherwood Forest in Rochester Hills for Santa Red, who was ill, and a lady came up. She was a young lady in her 80s, and she said this was her first ever picture with Santa, and she was so excited. She was there with her daughter, and of course she was excited. It made me excited. You just kind of feed off that. And then about an hour and a half, 2 hours later, I was talking to some teenagers, because they're a little standoffish, and I said, "Oh, you're never too old for Santa," because I just had a lady that was in her 80s that was here for her first picture with Santa, and I heard about 10, 12 people back in the line. It was me. It was me. She had come back with her other daughter to get another picture. And I just loved it. And it was my first year, and it was the first experience that I had with an adult that was that excited. So
See,
that was fun.
It's kind of hard to believe that never had a picture with Santa, but it
Nope.
does happen. It does happen with them. And then when you become the first Santa and they don't forget it and they've got to tell somebody else, oh my gosh, you kind of get that little, because they've gone 70, 80, 90, whatever years without a picture with Santa, without a picture with Mrs. Claus or whatever. And then you just made that pictures and stories that will last a lifetime, and the family will remember it. See, that's what makes Santa so magical. Exactly, again, what Chris said and what Ted said and Paul said. You guys said that is everything that makes Santa the most magical. It's not some of these props we're going to be talking about, but that does help. But it's all those things that makes you guys here and everybody else that portrays Santa and Mrs. Claus during the holiday season as magical as can be. So that's Fantastic. I'm going to show you one more quick thing here. We always know that Santa knows everything. Of course, I've got a couple of, whoops, if I can do it this way. Maybe if I do it this way, it might be a little, I've got 6 cards here. Maybe if I just turn my hand, whoops, I don't want to lose Santa there. I've got 6 cards here. I've got Santa. I've got Mrs. Claus. I've got the North Pole. Whoops. And I've got the dropsies, like usual when I do something like this, because it's not, well, I can just take them apart. Doesn't I got a snowman, Rudolph, an elf, the North Pole, Mrs. Claus, of course, and Santa, like I said. Now I'm going to need someone to help me out there. I pretty much beyond help. So I do need some help. So I need someone to help me here. Oh, Ken, yeah, Ken, you can't show it then. I mailed it to you. You can't show it, Ken.
I carry this, the envelope you sent it to me in. I carry it in my wallet. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Who am I gonna bother here? I haven't asked say hi to Frank yet. Frank, can you do me a favor, Frank? Need you in mute if you don't mind, Frank.
Sure.
I have, of course, the 6 cards. Mrs. Claus, Santa, North Pole, elf, reindeer, and a snowman. Now it'd be too easy for Santa to know if you just tell me, but Santa's already made a prediction about what you're going to pick. Now I want you to tell me a number between 1 and well, since we have 6 cards, this is kind of obvious. 1 and 6. Just say a number between 1 and 6.
5.
5. Very good. Now, all you boys and girls, of course, we're doing this to the children. Now, just counting to 5, 1, 2, 3, it's a little easy. Now, spelling the word 5 is a little bit more difficult. So let's spell together, everybody. Ready? 1, 2. Whoop. That's not spelling, is it, everybody? That's not spelling. Let's spell 5 starts with an F, I, V, E. Oh, 5. Picked a 5 and you picked North Pole. Now, Santa knew that you were going to pick the North Pole. I knew. Santa knew. So I even put on there that you would pick the North Pole. That's on the back. Now you're probably saying there's something on the back of all these are all blank on the back of these cards. These are all blank. They're all blank on the back. But Santa knows all. That's why he knows if you've been naughty or nice. Santa knows if you've gone to sleep at night. Santa knows if you've tugged on your sister's hair or cheated at work. So it's a nice little pocket trick, card trick to have. And again, very easy to make. You can print them off on your printer. And this is just business card stock. You can get it Staples, Office Max. Are they closed now? I think they've closed all their stores. Office Depot, whatever they are. And of course, there's zillions of clip art out there to get these. Now, it's a magic effect, of course. It's all mathematical. I'll put this back in the proper spot. Whatever card you have has to be in technically the third spot, which would be right in the center there. So let's say somebody says 1. They pick number 1. Now, you say the same routine. Just counting 1 is too easy. Let's spell the word O-N-E. Gets you to the center one. 2, very easy again. It's too easy to count to 2. T-W-O. 3, you go back to the word. Let's count to 3 together. 1, 2, 3. 4. Now, you can do it 2 different ways. You can count F-O-U-R. You can do it that way, or just do 1, 2, 3, 4. You have to start from the other way, like you do for 5. And 6 is S-I-X. It's all magical, and of course forced to get to the very center card. It's nothing hard to remember. But then you can leave this, especially this card here. You can have more of these printed. You can put your phone number or whatever your website is on there. That then becomes another giveaway to give to the children or the mom and dad or whoever you're having help. So another way to have kind of like the Claus cards that I know Michael uses quite a bit, the naughty or nice cards. One more thing to give, it turns a little bit of magic. It's packs very small, but man, they remember that naughty and nice card. They really do. Then you give them something, and that's just another memory, and that's adds to the magic, not just of Santa, but of their experience with you. Oops, gonna admit somebody in there. So just wanted to show you that one. And what are we going to do next? I am not sure what we're going to do next.
Oh, Randall's voice.
Yeah, Randall's running.
Oh,
Make
hey,
sure that
Sal, how
you're
are you?
on.
Yes, that's me.
Oh,
That's me.
good.
So,
I don't.
Hey,
Can't
Randall.
see you.
yes,
Just
I
one
heard
word
somebody's
of
voice.
advice.
Hi, Ken.
Hey, you might want to check your card of the spelling of Rudolph. I don't know if it's on your program
Oh,
or not.
Rudolph is spelled wrong.
It's RUDOLPD, I think.
Uh-oh.
I had done this
It's
trick.
copy. Well, you see, you can't do Rudolph. It's actually technically we can't sing Rudolph because it's still
Copyrighted.
owned by the family and Montgomery Wards or whoever owns it still. So maybe that was a way to cover any legal problems.
I had done that trick probably 10 to 15 times, and then somebody noticed it. And I'm like, I never saw it. So
tell them it's because of copyright infringement laws. Then tell them, do you remember Napster? Do you remember Napster? And they go, no. See, that's what happened in Napster. They had copyright infringement problems.
You're welcome, Ken.
Oh my goodness. Me and spelling, man. I tell you, that's not a good combo.
I'm pointing at Dana. I didn't mention names, but since Dana's the one who called me out
I'm sorry.
Thanks, Dana. I'm glad somebody found it.
I was concentrating on what I was supposed to do and try to catch him because I'd never seen it before. But it's like, how come it's spelled wrong?
It's copyright infringement laws. That's the reason, Dana.
Perfect sense. Perfect sense.
Don't. Yeah, right. So let's go back to the like we were talking about before about what's the most magical part about Santa. Now, I'm gonna say it's his smile, his eyes. How many of you get maybe upset when you don't see Santa smiling? Yeah, that is everybody expects Santa to be smiling and as jolly as can be. And we all know we work long hours, long holiday season. Some people have real jobs still. Some people are doing a lot of hours as Santa. And you get pretty tired by sometimes that 5th show of the day, 10th show of the day, 10th hour of the day. And man, it's hard to get that. But we have to, because that is something they remember. And of course, when that happens, when that picture is taken, and Santa's sitting there like that, ooh, I want to put, who should I? Yep, Kevin, you're the one. Kevin, do me a favor. Get unmuted if you don't mind, Kevin. Thank you, sir, very much. Now I want you to do me a favor. Give that super jolly eye Santa smile right now to us all. Now show just a 10th hour tired Santa. Yeah, now which one do we want in our picture? But we have to keep that smile going, and that's because that's it. Then a good smile, Michael, make your smile, Michael. See, that's what it does. A good smile makes other people smile, and that's it's in. This sounds like a negative word. It's infectious. Is that a proper connection? Is that a proper connection? I know it sounds like an illness, but it is infectious. Then if Santa's smiling, Santa's jolly, so are the people that are going to be around. Now there are going to be some stick in the muds. We all know that. Some people will never win over on, but I tell you, that smile can can cover a lot. Besides, don't forget that picture is taken and there's cameras all around us. There's videos going on all the time. We might be posing, then we're between, there's still a camera and a video going on. So somehow we've got to keep those eyes open, the cheeks higher during even those times as much as we can while we're talking. Because that video is running. Somebody is got you on tape, Mrs. Claus or an elf or Santa. They have you there. And as Kevin just shows, that's nothing personal, Kevin. I don't mean this as a negative. Nobody wants that kind of picture of Santa on their wall. They want yes, Chris, you're going to be the next one. Chris, you're going to do the big Santa smile. They want this kind of smile like Kevin did to begin with. Just give me a big smile, Chris. Very good. Give that a big Santa smile. We got to do it. And that's what they'll remember. And that's another part that doesn't take a prop. That does not take making something, doesn't take spending any money. That's free. We have it. And we cannot not pass it out. That's our duty. Is that proper to compare the two? That's our duty to do, or responsibility. Maybe that sounds better. It's our responsibility to always be jolly. It is such a crazy thing not to be. And maybe that's when I know we all don't feel good sometimes, but maybe sometimes that's when we should think about maybe hanging up the coat, or maybe not working as much if we can't be that way for the children. So many work so hard at this profession. I mean, look at look at you here. I mean, you guys all got to give yourself rounds of applauses for the classes you attend, for the events you attend like these. You guys want to increase your thought process about the business and make the children happy. So we know you guys do. And there's thousands and thousands out there that do too. There's those chosen few that, maybe it's time to maybe not do 20, 50 shows a year, do 20 a year. Or if you're not feeling it right, it's going to be scary to think someday we all going to have to hang up the apron, Mrs. Claus, or the elf shoes, Phineas, or hang our coat up. But until then, we have that responsibility of keeping as much jolly as we can from 6 o'clock in the morning. And I learned this the hard way years ago when COVID was in, when we were doing virtual at 6 a.m. in the morning. That's when virtual started with me at 6 a.m. in the morning and would run until 10 o'clock at night. And man, can you think keeping that smile? Boy, you're just exhausted, but the people at 10 o'clock at night are just as important as that 6 o'clock or that noon. And it's our responsibility to make sure that goes. And I know you guys do it. So I'm rambling like always. I can't help myself. Other things that I think are always fun and memorable, that keeps the magic going, are the little things you can give to children also. And I talked about this on the Monday show a while ago. We see these on Facebook all the time, or you can Google elf names. Nothing personal, Phineas. It's something good to bring to. Hold on. There we go. Your visit, or even have it in if you're doing even if you're doing a big box store or mall, have one of these with you. Have these with you. We all should have a bag. At least I feel we all should have a bag next to us, so we have things like our water, our new gloves, everything else, and to have some things like this with us that are something to talk to the children about, to get them giggling. Because you get the children giggling, and oh man, that is so cool. What little things, or Michael and Herbie do the bad joke time, bad dad jokes, but just jokes, just funny little excerpts, things to have. It's not hard magic. It's not anything else, but it brings the magic of that laughter out. And laughter is that word, like I said again, is infectious. and they remember when they're laughing. And there'll be some moaners in here. Michael can attest to some of those dad jokes were terrible moaners, but they're fun. How many of you guys like, and I know I asked this earlier, dad jokes? Who likes bad dad jokes? Who, I mean, come on, you got to love them. So, and so do a lot of people, but these, of course, are, are just Christmas jokes. And you can download these off the internet anytime you want to, print them out of your computer printer. If you want to put them in a plastic sleeve so they last, so you can read them off. I just think it's a good idea to remember something like that. It just makes Santa a little bit more interactive on different things than and than just always asking what. And I can't remember who said that earlier about. Oh, I think Phineas did about asking about. It's all about asking what you want for Christmas. But we are here to entertain also because we are entertainers. We're an actor. My name is Randy Wagner. That's Michael Howard. That's Mike Hutchinson. That's who we are in real life. We portray Brenda, you're Brenda. We portray Santa and Mrs. Claus. And so our job is then to make that as fantastic of a character as possible and to add these things in does it. In fact, let's try one more thing. Oh, I got to do this first. I'm sorry. I showed this on the show then too. Also little things, like I said, that's easy to bring that you can leave and put your website address or your QR code or whatever you want to do is little optical illusions that are Christmas oriented. Of course, you can talk to the children about, wow, which candy cane is straight? Of course, none of the candy canes look straight because of the way they are. Of course, it's an optical illusion. Or another, which snowflake, center snowflake is larger? The one on the light blue or one on the dark blue? Because then you tell a story. Then you get to your backstory about every snowflake's different, just like every child is different. There's so many things you can take just a little thing like this and add to the story to talk to the children about. Or you can keep it very short if you want to, but big thing to talk about is, of course, snowflakes are different. Children are different. You can take it as far as you want to that way. So that's just some things I want to show, but I want to show some magic again. Sorry, I apologize. It's just who I am. I don't know if you all can see it. I might have to enlarge myself here. Can I do this? Can I pin myself on this one? Unless Mel's here. Thank you, Mel.
I got you, brother.
Oh, thank you, AJ. What I would like for everyone to do this, they can follow along. This is something you can do. It's just again, piece of paper, nothing special. I'd like you to take your finger and place your finger on any circle ornament. Just place your finger on any circle ornament. Okay? Has everybody got their finger on a circle ornament? I'm going to say, hopefully they say yes, because I can't hear you. That says the Grinch on it, of course. That says the Grinch on it. Actually, we're not talking about, I apologize, any circle ornament that says the Grinch on it, because he is the mean one. And, well, his heart did grow 10 times, of course. Move your finger. Now, take your finger from that Grinch ornament and move it either up or down to the nearest square or present. Take your finger and move it up or down to the nearest square present. We got there? I hope we've got it there pretty good. Now, move your finger where it's from that present. Move your finger left or right to the nearest circle ornament. Yep, if necessary, cross across another square. It's okay. You can cross another square, but you have to go to the nearest, right or left, the nearest circle ornament. It's okay to cross across a square. Now, your next move, if you've gotten there already, that's already a lot of work, but if you've gotten there, move diagonally to the nearest square or present, however you want to look at. Now, we're almost done. Don't worry, we're almost done. You move diagonally to the nearest square or present. Now, one final move, just one final move, move up or down to the nearest circular ornament. You guys have been all over the board here. I know your fingers have been everywhere here, and your screen on your TV is now all sticky and everything. But Santa knows, just like earlier, Santa knows that you always come back to the North Pole. How many people or finger are on the North Pole? Now we can put you back on if you don't mind putting back on to everybody. I'd appreciate it. AJ, putting back on.
It's Mel. Hang on one second.
Oh, Mel, I'm sorry.
No
Thank you
worries.
very much, Mel. How many of you had it on made it through to make it to the North Pole? Again, it's another interactive magic trick. Again, doesn't cost anything. It's not a big prop. This is just the explanation, which you can read. It's just an easy thing, and it's all mathematical how it's done. To be honest with you, David Copperfield was the one that put it together back in the 1970s on one of his television specials. Of course, he did it with magic and all that. I'll be with you 1 second, Lewis. Don't move. Well, I'm not. I know you're not going to move, but I can see that. So it's all, again, just mathematical, not like the last trick, but you will always end up on the North Pole. So there's, I was reading my explanation because I don't do it this time of year very much. But it's another fun thing to have. And Mrs. Claus, and it's great when an elf does it. It's great when they do it and you have a helper do it. Does it? Wow, my English is really, really bad. So to keep things going and to keep the magic showing. Go ahead, Lewis. Sorry, I apologize. I wanted to finish my little ramble there for a second.
How about using a candy cane as a prop or even a lump of coal?
Always good to keep a candy cane. And I don't have it with me, but I have a candy cane magic wand. This is just a red and white one, but I have one that falls apart. It's a magician's magic wand that falls apart. It looks like a candy cane. It's fun to do that because then take the holiday season look. Like, I use the red magic wand. Of course, it's not black and white, but it's a magic wand.
Yes.
Red and white.
Yes. Mind if I explain the reason being? I learned this from two YouTube videos. So it's done by the same man and who does a YouTube channel who is also a professional Santa Claus. How's this and he did a fascinating history on the candy cane, which was originally used as a bribe to keep the quiet children quiet.
Very cool, very cool.
And
See,
the
that's
lump
something we can talk about as Santa or Mrs. Claus.
And the lump of coal, believe it or not, is actually not from Santa Claus, but from Krampus.
And we don't want to talk about him. He's pretty scary looking. That movie was pretty nuts. I don't know how many people saw the Krampus movie, but not for me. So yeah, but they're still fun to add to that story. Of course, you can make a joke about now, we don't give coal out anymore. We press it because diamonds are bad. Of course, coal is needed for energy. So you don't have to do the only naughty children get coal anymore, because for one thing is a lot of children don't even know what coal is anymore.
Obviously.
They don't. That's the thing. And the funniest thing, I mean, we all know, I made a comment about click, click, click phone, a camera. This is what every children thinks is a camera. They don't remember the old Nikon camera. They don't remember the Canons. They don't remember any of those Polaroids hardly. Maybe an Instamatic Polaroids now are coming back a little bit, but you hold one of those up and it's like, look at the camera. Well, they're looking at mom's cell phone over there. They're not looking at somebody with a big lens on the end of it. The new generation is just not meant for that. So the story of with the coal, we can tell the children the story, which is great to keep alive, Lois. It really is, especially the idea about the candy cane and the keeping the children quiet. That'd be a fun story to talk about.
Which later became which later became an evangelism tool.
Because and that's something we all can talk about during the thing, and it's interesting, but the children aren't used to hearing it, but that's something that Santa can do. And oh, sorry, I've got to do this. This is probably one of my favorite props to do as Santa, because is that the right one? Yeah. It's again, it's not a magic prop. It's something that children are not used to seeing.
Music box. I don't hear anything.
Hope I can get it close enough to my speaker. It actually plays "We Wish You a Merry Christmas," and I have one. But most of the children have never seen an old-fashioned, the old-fashioned jewelry boxes that had the ballerina dancing on. That was what, the 90s? Maybe Dana and Brenda, you can help me with that. Diana, you can help me with that. How far back was the jewelry box you opened up and the ballerina turned around when a music box?
Mine is in the 60s.
I had one in the
60s?
70s.
Yeah.
Children think this is magical, and it's just a music box that came out in what? I don't know how old the music box is. I mean, I have no clue how old the music box idea, but you can take something as little as this and make it magical for the children. Not a magic prop or not a winning else. They've never seen it before. They think it's so cool. They want to crank it. They want to hear the music. They want to hear that ding, 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 ding. And it's so we can make those memories magical that are something that's like, again, I'll have to say this is an eBay find. I've told you before, I'm an eBay fanatic looking for things. I bought as many as I could because they don't last a whole long. I bought a few of each, because they do wear out. But they look pretty, and but it's something that's, again, it's small, easy to carry in your bag. Of course, I always keep a bag with me regardless where it's
See this?
AJ's back.
Those are blacksmiths showing Heartwork Pines and
There we
Grayling,
go.
and all
Put
the
that there.
blacksmiths were asking me for
Yeah,
coal.
so those are some things that, again, that it doesn't need to be magic to make Santa magical. And I know Ted, where's Ted? Ted's still here? Yeah, Ted is very clear, and it's totally truthful what Ted says. Santa's not a magician. We're not going to saw somebody in half. Santa's not going to make somebody float. That's just wrong. I mean, but we can take the magic concepts and enhance what Santa, Mrs. Claus, and the Elf does. I know Michael does. Michael's still here? I don't see Michael's. Michael does like a show at Great Wolf Lodge, and he does quite a bit of magic in his show, but he uses magic concepts and doesn't stand up there and does a trick. It's the magic concepts of making the elf move, the pop up, that pops up and all that, which is what we need to do. Take the concepts or a little magic to make Santa and Mrs. Claus and everybody even more, because when you're face to face, they really want to see it and believe it and feel it. Because when you make those cards appear, they can feel it. It came out of nowhere. I know we can come out of nowhere for this. I guess we can come something out of nowhere for this too. Again, out of nowhere. I like to use a lot of these little things because they don't take up much room. Little pieces of cardboard, all that. And what are the saying that I think we talked about it the other night, if we should say Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays? What show was that on? I remember seeing one of these shows. What does hopefully everybody still says Merry Christmas. So just little things like that you can do. Then of course, then you could take that in, and because I just love getting people to sing. Even I'm a horrible singer, I'd like to get him to sing because to me that brings everybody in. Because I like to take Dad that he's back in the corner there, and before we sing, I go to the shoulder now. Now, did you know something very, very exciting about your dad? Did you know something about some very secret? Bet you don't know about your dad. Did you know your dad always wanted to be in a boy band when he was young? Dad's eyes just pop up. Oh yeah, Dad wanted to be in. He wanted to do the old Temptations thing, and he wanted to be in a boy band. In fact, Dad's going to be one of our singers in the boy band. So then it just gets then Dad's back there having a cocktail, or if he's eating some food. Now you just drew Dad in, because next you're going to sing "We Wish You a Merry Christmas," which was just in the thing. So one way or the other, um, I just like to add that little bit of singing. And of course, like I said, since I'm a very bad singer, I have a playlist on my phone. The songs that I will do at an event, and I have it packed in my magic trunk. It's about the size of a baseball, or let's say a softball, um, Bluetooth speaker. They're very loud. They connect to your phone. You can have it connected. If you're with somebody, they can connect it while you're doing all this. Man, you play that, you've got the music behind you, you've got the words behind you. Bring a little Bluetooth speaker along. Add that magic of music to your event also. It's not magic. It just makes you more magical and more rememberable. I'll explain that in a minute. Makes you sell yourself, um because we all know there's lots of Santas and Mrs. Clauses, but you want to get rebooked there again. So that, wow, that Santa got us, he played music and he did whatever, he's played a guitar, whatever you're going to do special as your special hook. um they will remember that, and then you'll get booked again. So I know we're already going over the eight o'clock thing. I guess Sean is sick, so
Take your
we're going to
time.
go a little. We're going to go a little bit more, but I'm going to want to throw out let you guys do some question and answers. If you guys got any questions about stuff, want to interact with anything before we say thank you very much. But does anybody have any questions about anything, or excited about what you got there?
No, Randall, you talked about having a little speaker.
Yeah. Oh,
This
beautiful.
is-
Look at that.
This
Check
is
out
one
that
of those
speaker.
little Santa bitty boomers.
I mean,
And this thing really rocks. You can really rock the music. But we had this hooked, looped over on my wife's little handbag, walking into an event, playing, Christmas songs on Bluetooth. And what a nice little, entrance, kind of little mantra that kind of sets the mood, sets the stage, sets the tone for when you come in. This thing's only about 2 inches tall.
That's
And
phenomenal.
It was $11 on Amazon.
Yep.
That's crazy. $11
Yep.
for an item that goes from your phone to there, some plays
Yep.
music. I don't know how much power. It's probably got plenty of power for what you're looking for.
Oh,
It
it's
does.
To hear the
loud.
music.
It's
That's
loud.
that's phenomenal. I mean, that's and the people will remember. Oh, Santa walked in and Mrs. Claus walked in with music.
Mm-hmm.
And it adds to that memorable time. It adds to that.
Yeah, and it's got a cord, you can hang it on a tree, on a tree branch or whatever you wanted to. Just don't forget it. But but you can have that hanging on the tree playing music while you're doing your visit, in a low, soft tone, and then when it's time to go, you grab it and go. So
Very good. Very cool idea. Yeah, I think the music things, because like I said, I'm a horrible singer and there's not always somebody there that's got a good voice, or there might be apprehensive, or and there's somebody might not be there. I used to go to this one house. They always had somebody that played the piano, which was wonderful. I loved it every year. We'd do 2, 3 songs, but they'd be playing the piano. They'd be Santa's just got to be animated. Didn't have to really sing. You'd get the song going. Now I even bring the words to a couple of songs too. I have them in my bag that I carry. Bring the words along to help if you want to pass one or two out. I bring a couple of those along. Anything else? Any other questions or comments? Or go ahead, Louis.
This one is directed to Mel.
Uh-oh.
But I will give a question to you, who Randall, as soon as I'm finished with her. Mel. You can check the sorry about my stutter.
No, you're fine.
You can check the post I wrote for you, as soon as we're done with the session.
Okay. Awesome. I'll definitely take a look. Thank you.
Very cool. Yeah, that's. There anybody else have any questions or comments or?
Back to you, who Randall.
Oh, sure.
Oh.
Thank you.
Uh, I'm trying to think here. Sorry about that.
No problem.
I have a few props at hand I can use. This is as is a Santa Claus. Like the ring guy showed you, and a handbell. That found them at a Goodwill.
See, that's anything can be a good prop for Santa. A clown nose can be a great prop for Santa.
Yeah,
Especially when
I
you're
actually,
bringing Rudolph and all that.
I actually have a clown nose.
Just
I
a
got a
fun
peep
foam nose is a great prop for Santa to get the smiles and everything else. And then you can talk about how Rudolph got his red nose, and you just take that little nose, and then and you have another talk. That's what's so cool about what we can do. I'll go back to that old thing. Our limit is our imagination. Our limit is our mind. And that can just go forever, which we are so fortunate we can do that.
But how about a backstory on how Santa became Santa?
You can always let the children know how you became Santa. Always.
Starting literally from childhood.
Yep.
Always could do that. See, I always love I made a comment earlier about telling Santa's age. I love telling children how old I am, because children will always ask you how old you are. And we all have different stories about how old Santa is. That, when Santa came across as, Santa Claus and all that. And so we all know that story, but I do it a little different, or the tongue in the teeth and nose. And we all know that story from the movie, but I get the children around me and I say, now, do you really want to know how old I am? Now, can you keep a secret? Can all of you keep a secret? Raise your hand if you can keep a secret. Raise your hand if you can keep a secret. You promise? You promise you? Okay. I'm going to tell you how old I am now. Now, don't tell anybody.
Keep it on the DL.
Don't tell anybody how old I am. Are you ready for this? This is how old I am. I am 1 day older than I was yesterday. That's right. And so are you, and so are you, and so are you. It gets them going, what in the world did he just say? And I get myself out of trying to explain the whole story about how old I am, or trying to tell them I am, 1,000+ years old. Because of that little thing. You kind of suck them in a little bit, you give them the trust, and then you have fun with them, and then you laugh back, and it's just a lot of fun. That's how I get out of that. But it's exactly what you said, Louis. You can have a story for anything, like you said, about how Santa grew up. We all watched that Hannah Baskin
Rankin Bass.
Yeah,
Life
back
and
in the
Adventures.
60s. Back in the 60s, where Santa was dropped off as a baby, and through the years. So we've all seen all those stories.
Have you ever read The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus?
I know, I'm sorry, I have, maybe somebody else has here, but I know I haven't. Maybe
It was also a lesser known Rankin Bass special in the 80s.
Yeah, there was a lot of definitely the Rankin Bass specials in the late 70s, early 80s. Of course,
Yeah.
I'm granting myself. I don't mean to cut everybody off, but I'm running out of the cloud room.
Uh-oh. We're
Randall,
gonna have to get going again. I thank you guys so much. I don't I'll cut you off quick, Mo. I just apologize for that. I thank you guys so much for letting me ramble and allowing me to come into your Thursday nights. Mel, you're dynamite, and everyone here is too. You guys are all love you all for being a part of the holiday season and making the children smile. Sorry, Mel, go ahead.
No, Randall, you're amazing. Thank you so much, my dear brother. What a wonderful show. You should see my copious amounts of notes I was taking. So definitely want to get together on some of them with you. And thank you so much for hosting and thank you for doing what you do. You are amazing. And like I tell you each and every time, I hope you never get sick of hearing it, but each and every one of you are Christmas magic. Look in that mirror and remember, because you're just amazing. So we are the keepers of Christmas magic. Until next week, may visions of sugar plums dance in your heads. I love you all. Remember, the site is yours. If you want to host a show or have any topic you'd like to discuss, please reach out. But until next week, I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everybody. Thanks,
Oh,
Randall.
Merry Christmas, everybody.